All right, and for more on this, we're now being joined by our VOA White House Bureau Chief, Patsy Widakuswara from the Harris headquarters in Washington, D.C. Patsy, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you can hear me.
It was 240,000 a little while ago. President Clinton has come down a little bit. I just want to remind everybody.
Hi, Patsy, can you hear me?
All right, we're still trying to connect with Patsy. Patsy was joining us over the phone line from the Harris headquarters in Washington, D.C. All right, I think we've patched up with her again.
All right, Patsy, can you hear me right now? All right, we seem to be having trouble with that line. We'll, of course, try and get our VOA Bureau Chief, White House Bureau Chief Patsy with us as soon as we can. She was to join us from Washington. Of course, let's just bring you the updated numbers. The numbers stand for now. Harris at 99, it's Trump at 178. When we talk of the blue wall states, Harris is leading in Wisconsin, Michigan and Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania, of course, Shivan, as you know, that is really the bridging gap between, you know, where the election is actually decided.
And it took a number of days, even in the previous election, because of a recount. That result came 4 days later. So we really need to be prepared for any kind of contingency at this point. I'd also like to reiterate for our viewers the figures that you, of course, see on the screen in front, that the 267 for Trump and 156 for Harris. These are figures which are combined with leads and decided wins. So that is where these figures stand. These are not the final figures. These are figures as per states which have been counted so far. And there is also a count which is going on for the Senate and for the House. For the Senate, the Republicans at this point are at 46, Democrats 36, and for the House, Republicans are at 102 and Democrats at 72. For largely, at this point, it does seem that red is not a mirage, but again, we can't take it as a final figure. We'll need to know when it is finally out. These are the figures that we're bringing for you at this hour.
All right, let's talk about the key race, which is, of course, coming from Pennsylvania. It has 19 electoral college votes. It's one of the biggest battleground states. It's a swing state as well. It's been reliably blue. And just to put some trivia out there, 10 of the last 12 of the White House winners have been correctly picked by Pennsylvanians. It's a blue wall state, as I mentioned, and no Democrat, in fact, Shivan, has won the White House without Pennsylvania since 1948. So it really could be the deciding factor. And as we know, popular vote really does not matter. It's the electoral college votes, and it's really down to the swing states.
Viewers, this is, of course, in-depth research that we're bringing to you because it is only on the basis of trivia and precedent that one can gauge what to expect at this point, which Haim has just shared with you regarding Pennsylvania. From 1948 to now, this state has always been one of the deciding factors, and it has been important for whoever the winner has been so far. As of now, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, all three who are swing states, and in all three of these states, the race is too close to call. I'd just like to bring this latest update. Even in Michigan, the race is now being deemed as one which is too close to call. Now, these are four very pivotal states and swing states. Georgia, Pennsylvania, we have been tracking. Michigan just joined that list with a close call race.
Absolutely. If you were to talk about some of the early voting trends, and these are the numbers as of yesterday, of course, because the election day, of course, started, and the polling process, it's been pretty smooth so far. If we were to talk about some of the early voting trends in Pennsylvania, it's 1.8 million early mail-in and in-person votes that were cast. And if we talk about the vote share of the Democrats and the Republicans, it's 56% Democrats in the early trends and 33% Republicans. It's, you know, this is where Joe Biden won with a 1.2 margin in 2020 as well.
You know, Haim, we were discussing this earlier, even with our guests, that every voter is not going to be vocal about who they lean towards. A lot of rural America is very much behind Trump, and that is one aspect of the nation which is not vocal, but they are very clear in their stance. We've also seen a lot of the male voters, majority, you know, they have a lot of the Trump voters are the males which are coming in as well. A lot of that is coming from the rural side of the nation.
You're absolutely right, Shivan. It's the white and non-college degree voter base. That's really Trump's voter base here. And I'm glad that you mentioned about the voters who are not perhaps affiliated or who are not vocal about it. Because if we talk about the swing state of North Carolina, which has 16 electoral college votes, actually, might I add, it had 38% of unaffiliated votes, and that was the largest share of the votes. And another interesting fact about North Carolina, for that matter, is that the number of registered voters is 109,000 higher than the number of registered Republicans. So that's 109,000 Democrats higher than the number of registered. But again, the share of unaffiliated voters, that remained the largest, and which was at 38%. So the unaffiliated voters and the independent voters, those could really be the deciding factor in this election.
Exactly. The undecided voters are also one. They're comprising about 20% is like the last figure we got. And that could be the tipping factor on either side. As of now, just once again, I'd like to reiterate for the viewers, this is the race to 270. And as far as the confirmed wins are concerned, as of now, the red camp is at 188, closer to the 270 mark as compared to the blue camp, which is at 99. And I would say since the last 45 minutes or so, we've seen that figure remain steady at 99. Again, I like to, suggest, and I only advise, we need to see all the figures with a certain sense of caution, because these are confirmed wins, but all states have not been counted. There are several states which are determined, which are totally blue in nature. Once that count comes in, of course, we'll see the blue camp gaining more numbers.
Absolutely.